there's the Ben Tingle that comes, what, Bergs, every 6 months, every 12 months?
When you go and see the doctor or about Altcoins, mate?
I've been doing this now for 7 years, and I'll give you a bit of a cheat code. As I looked into it, it really reminded me of early metaverse back in 2018. There's a project here that we've been looking at that we invest in and share with our members called... Welcome back to another episode of the Ben Bergs podcast. I'm Ben, your favorite high school dropout and founder of Collective Shift, alongside Ms. Bergs, your favorite MBA and CEO of Collective Shift. Join us as we bring you world-class crypto research and strategies to help you dominate this crypto bull market, as well as a behind-the-scenes view of us scaling a fully remote subscription research business here in Australia. And if you like the podcast, we'd love for you to share it with a friend. Leave a little review, leave a little subscribe. It's how we grow the podcast, coming to you each and every week with zero advertising. At Bergs today, we're going to be advertising on some of the altcoins that have been going gangbusters. And we're also going to be sharing with our listeners on the pod some exclusive member content about where we think the market's going, altcoin strategy. Plus, we're going to be sharing with you 4 altcoins that I'm invested in. Business has a couple of these. I think, Bergs, you have...
Got 3 of the 4.
3 of the 4. And we're going to be sharing those with you, Ben Bergs listeners, because we love you all, and we want to, try and increase your chances of crushing this bull market. So, Bergs, the altcoins, we've started to see a fair bit of growth, mate. Like we're seeing retail investors start to come back, nowhere near the euphoria of previous cycles, but things are on the move.
Absolutely, mate. We're seeing people come in, and it's this crazy thing where people... Like the general thing is buy your good stuff, your BTC, your ETH, buy a couple of little altcoins. And then, as they start to go up, you rotate, you get into into riskier things. But people just go right to the end and they're like, no, meme tokens. That's what I want. Like go right to the most ultra risky thing. There were 99% is going to zero. You're seeing the craziest Solana coins coming out. And mate, that's where all the action is at the moment. And it just leaves me looking at things like, even BTC's had a run, but it's so underpriced. ETH is so underpriced. A lot of the coins we're talking about, mate, there's just so much opportunity that people aren't looking at.
Yeah, and we at Collective Shift, as you all know, we focus on fundamental values. We're not looking at meme coins. We're not looking at highly speculative coins. Yes, they can play a role in a portfolio, but ultimately we're looking for things that are going to be around for a long, long time. Now, I'll give you a bit of a cheat code, team. This is something that I shared with our members recently, that when you have a correction in a bull market, which in fact in the last bull market we had 10% plus drawdowns. When you have corrections in bull markets, you want to look at the altcoins that are outperforming Bitcoin. If you have altcoins that are outperforming Bitcoin in that correction, i.e. where they are not going down as much against other altcoins compared to Bitcoin, then you are in a healthy or strong token. Now, if you're having something that is correcting and going deeper than other altcoins against Bitcoin, well, then you're in a bit of a different position. Basically, it is a bit of a cheat code to tell you which coins will rebound the hardest and the best off those corrections. And that should be across the board when investing in altcoins. You ultimately are looking to invest into altcoins to leverage your crypto position in either BTC or ETH terms. That's how I think you should be thinking about it, right? If you are going to take the risk of investing into an altcoin, you want to make sure it's going to outperform Bitcoin, right? So let's look at a favorite token of so many people, not including myself, XRP.
Oof.
I had a platinum session this morning. I had a one-on-one with one of our platinum members, strategy call, and he's like, "What are your thoughts on XRP?" I said, "All I need to show you is a chart of the XRP chart over Bitcoin. In the last year, if you were to hold XRP instead of Bitcoin, you're down 53%, Bergs. 53%. You are down half as much if you were just to hold Bitcoin, right? The token economics on some of these coins are very, very poor. Now, a common mistake investors make is they look at the token price, not the market cap, and specifically the total diluted valuation, right? The price of a token, i.e. if it's $1, $50, $5,000, makes absolutely zero difference, right? when we see investors looking at cheap tokens, it's 50 cents, it's just that's cheap versus Bitcoin $70,000. Bullshit. Doesn't make any difference. It's about the market cap. That is a basic retail mistake that a lot of investors make. They'll look at XRP and go, that's cheap at 60 cents versus Bitcoin's 70,000. Doesn't make any difference. It's about the market cap, right? Now, if we look at something like, let's look at Illuvium. Illuvium right now, ILV, is a pretty good project. It's going to gain a lot of attention, a lot of narrative. You know, a couple of our analysts like it internally, Collective Shift. I'm not a fan of it because of its token economics. Illuvium is currently $124 at the time of recording. It's down 93%, Bergs. This thing hit $1,900, right? So this thing needs to literally 12 to 15x from here, right? 1,200% increase to get back to break even if you are holding Illuvium, if you bought at the exact top, right? Hopefully you didn't buy at the exact top. Now, the market cap, however, if we look at the market cap of Illuvium, we're nearly at all-time highs, meaning that the total value, the total amount of money invested into Illuvium is nearly at the same price as where it hit the top back in 2021. But we're still down 93% in token price because of the tokenomics. They have increased the supply of their tokens so much that the price needs to 12x just to get back up to all-time high. The total diluted valuation is 1.2 billion right now, right? And we got to that in the last bull cycle, but the price is down. This is what you need to be looking at when you're looking at these altcoins. And if we look at it against Bitcoin, that's against USD. If we look at ILV against Bitcoin, down 15% against Bitcoin.
And what does that token have to do to get that 12x to get back to break even?
It needs to grow it needs to get another about $12 billion in to get back to break even.
Exactly right. And then what do they have to produce it for in order for that to happen? And you need to think through those steps. And let's just define some terms that you've had along the way there. So we talk about circulating supply. So that is the amount of tokens that are available out on the open market. You've got things like total supply, which is what they plan to release. And it might be like an issuance or might be unlocked for a team. So unlocks are like tokens that are held, but they unlock at a certain date. So they're not in the circulating supply. They're held off to the side, but they will join the circulating supply. And then you've also got issuance. So as part of it are new tokens generated through a mechanism, whether it's a game or fees or whatever it may be. So what is that? How does that supply increase? When are those big chunks of unlocks happening? And are you getting diluted along the way? Because there's a trick here where, let's say there are 10 tokens and you've got one. They're going to issue 90 more tokens and you get an additional one. You think, oh, great. I've gone from 1 token to 2 tokens. I've increased 100%. But your voting rights have gone from 10% to 2%, like the amount that you control. So you have been diluted. You're actually worth less.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Bergs. And basically what they're doing is they're unlocking tokens for different things that are all a part of their vesting schedules, right? So ILV right now is unlocking a lot of coins for their team, right? So a lot of their team would have had tokens that were not vested for a period of time, so they can't be sold until we're further down the line. And that's where those token supply increases come from. But it significantly impacts the price of a token. Now, caveat, one of the benefits of staking your coins, especially when you've got big unlocks like ILV, is that staking your coins can actually offset the inflation rate. And this was something that we were talking about the other day with our analysts. Is, for me, staking is interesting because basically they're just like giving you more tokens that they're creating to offset the staking. So you're not actually getting a lot more value. But if you're looking to stake your coins, it could be a good way to offset the inflation rate of new tokens coming in, which I hadn't considered that way before until we sort of spoke about it recently internally, and I can get why you may want to do that. But then you've also got lockup periods, and you may not be able to sell. You have to move your custody externally. Like, there's so many other downsides to it that for Steelbergs, I'm like, I don't know if you really want to do this.
See, that's it. So the benefits are that you lock your tokens up. You're actually taking your supply off the market. It can't be sold because it's locked up. So there's less supply available. And if there's additional demand, it'll drive price action. You're receiving a token for locking it up, so you're getting some benefit. But the disbenefits are there is still inflation there because you're receiving those tokens. You're locking it up with a random startup for a period of time. So if you can't get out, you've locked it up for 6 months, you're stuffed, you can't sell, or there'll be huge penalties attached to that. So you need to know what the project is actually planning, what's on their roadmap, and when these things actually trigger, how you're locked in and where you can actually play the game.
Yeah, spot on, Bergs. So, look, the reality is Bitcoin recently hit all-time highs. There's been so much happening. Crypto's had a massive start, but we still firmly believe that this bull market is nowhere near complete. Really you can make life-changing amounts of money in crypto when we get to what's called altcoin season or alt season. And that typically happens in phase 2 of a bull market, right? Phase 1 is when Bitcoin heads up and then money starts to rotate down into the low caps and you start to get phase 2, which is altcoin season. Now, in 2017, we had the ICO boom. In 2020, 2021, we had the metaverse, gaming, NFT boom. Some of the results we've been able to get so far, Bergs, have been quite phenomenal, right? Recently, as a member, you get to see whenever we invest in something, and the returns have been pretty phenomenal so far. So recently, Jupiter we invested in. Outside of the airdrop, you made 250% on Jupiter. Maker has been one, up 90% since we invested into that. DMT, that's done 300% since we invested a few weeks ago. And one Bergs that Matt posted in the bear market, which was phenomenal, Pendle, hit 31x just last week from 16 cents when he posted about it, and it hit $4.90. Unbelievable. That's current. Oh shit! That's hit $7 today.
Oh jeez, that's incredible,
ridiculous.
And
yeah,
for the listeners out there, we're not a group where we post like, here's 150 tokens. Look, these 3 did really well. Yeah. It's all through the bear market over the last 2.5 years. We've talked about maybe 10, if that.
Yeah, we're trying to find projects that have fundamental value that we believe will have narratives driven to increase the exposure and awareness of new investors. And we did an episode of this recently, Bergs, now have narratives drive prices and markets. That's ultimately what you're trying to find, right? Where I made most of my money was in the metaverse back in 2018 before Facebook renamed to Meta. Facebook renamed to Meta, and instantly every single metaverse project did like a 5 to 10x. Like, it was just nuts. Anything and everything went up, right? Because of narrative. Made no fundamental difference to the project. They didn't, overnight have this crazy new product that, massively increased their market awareness. It was the fact that Facebook renamed to Meta, and now everyone wants to get in the metaverse, right? Narrative. That was narrative, and that's where the money went. So now we're looking at, well, what are the next narratives, right? What are the next sectors of crypto that we believe are going to have the most potential? And that's what we've been investing in for the last few months. So, one of the, a few of the sectors we've been looking at, one in particular, let's just look at Memecoins, for example. We don't invest in Memecoins personally, but that is a narrative that's been taken off, right? Social culture, social movement, and Bergs is seemingly just a new meme coin for every single thing that pops up at the moment.
And some of them are pretty funny, mate. We've got some of the staff members do get in and out of Memecoins. They're right into the Solana ecosystem. Good on them. But honestly, it's fraught with danger unless you got your finger on the pulse. You're very, very active and you're a complete degenerate. Stay clear of Memecoins because they can move really quickly, but they can retrace incredibly quickly as well.
Yeah, agree. So I think right now that the narrative has been primarily driven by Bitcoin. Bitcoin's had the limelight. We've got the Bitcoin halving very, very soon at the time of recording. We've got a lot going on in that space. And one of the sectors that really has probably, well, not underperformed, but, probably we thought was going to have more attention would be the ETH sector, Bergs. Like, ETH just hasn't had the exposure, the attention, the narrative that Bitcoin has. And I think that's why ETH has been, underperforming necessarily, but it hasn't really, we're not anywhere near all-time highs yet. And in fact, ETH's down 26% against BTC this year. So
I love it.
That for me is why we invested really heavily a few weeks back. We shared with the group. We bought a large chunk of ETH at that pullback. We had about $3,100, $3,000. We ETH because we felt it was the best risk to reward play that you could probably find in crypto right now, right? We're looking for risk to reward a collective shift. That's like, we're looking for fundamental value and good opportunities that we think are high reward for the least risk.
And we're thinking about, what are people not looking at? What is the next thing going to be? And just the amount of upgrades Ethereum's had in the last, 2 years, like moving to proof of stake, and even things like the latest, the Denkun upgrade for L2s, which are incredibly cheap. And people saying, oh, but there's not enough activity on Ethereum. There's L2s, or why don't you just go to Solana? That's where all the meme coin action is. I'm like, yeah, that's probably for this, 5 minutes in time. But if you look at a piece of software that's been updated over the last, 8 years or whatever it is, plus, they've had hardly any failures. They haven't had to roll it back. Doing it in a decentralized way is incredible. The amount of projects working on it, the amount of development teams that they have, and infrastructure and conferences and incentives and everything, it is just overwhelming. But just because it doesn't have insane meme tokens on it, I mean, but to be fair, they do, where they have it on, L2s, they have it on base, that kind of thing. But honestly, ETH is just being like, people are sleeping on this, and it is just going to be this huge giant that wakes up. We're going to get a result either way on the Ethereum ETF. I think that's going to be a huge, huge catalyst.
Yeah, like you said, Bergs, the Denkun upgrade, the roll-up centering roadmap, they're making good progress on that. Layer 2s are starting to get easier and easier to use. We've got hundreds of projects building on Layer 2s, institutional adoption, where ETH was chosen as the first public blockchain to support BlackRock's $100 million builder fund, massive.
Oh, mate. And look at that.
Yeah.
People just sleeping on that. It's like one news thing. Oh, don't care. It doesn't have a meme coin. Not going to make me rich. It's like, whoa, everyone wants to get rich in 4 seconds. And it's like, hey, there's this huge opportunity with overwhelming evidence. You should probably look into it.
And also the staking on ETH is also up 66%. So we're now 25% of the total ETH supply is staked as a percentage, and could continue to increase whilst the supply strain continues. So we're getting that deflationary supply with ETH. With the network increasing, that's offsetting the amount of newly issued ETH. So we're still in a deflationary supply.
But you'll see someone post, Ben, about trying to interact with a smart contract and it costing him $40. They're like, what is this? I can't trade it for sub-cent. Like, how am I going to get my meme coins? It's like, bro, you're on layer 1. Layer 1 exists for a reason.
Yeah, it's like, Ethereum's going to be used for government blockchain identity and moving, high data intensive, secure things on the network. Not the meme coins. Like, you can use other alternative chains, so that's absolutely okay.
Like, what you're trying to do is get like every text message you send notarized by a justice of the peace, like going to their house and getting them to sign it. Like, no, you don't need that. Yeah. You just muck around. You're on L2, mate. Just have fun.
Yeah.
But Ben,
you don't need to drive a tank down Chapel Street.
Exactly. You don't need to tank to the shops. Just get in your Hyundai. It's okay. Or your Tesla. Now, Ben, there's not only layer 2s, mate. They've gone one deeper to layer 3s.
And Bergs, we've gone pretty heavy on something here.
Let's go.
Do you want to give the folks an explanation of what layer 3 is?
All right. So layer 1 blockchains, very, very simple. Ethereum, Bitcoin. It's the base layers where everything happens. Layer 2 solutions, they use fancy cryptography and math. Think of it more like a bar card. You go to a bar, you don't tap every single time. You have a bar card, you do heaps of transactions, and you settle at the end of the night. Layer 3s then add additional functionality or interoperability or performance enhancements to that L2 blockchain structure. So it's the next level, going deeper and deeper into Inception, mate. And you got the Tingle, Ben. You got the Tingle.
Oh, for Ben Bergs listeners have been around for a while. There's the Ben Tingle that comes. What, Bergs? Every 6 months? Every 12 months?
When you go and see the doctor, or about Altcoins, mate?
When you get a match on Tinder? No.
Oh, jeez.
No, I get the crypto Tingle, and history has played the Tingle out all right. I've been doing this now for 7 years, and there's that gut feel, Bergs, sometimes it's kind of hard to explain on something, and I've definitely been wrong before, been wrong many times, but this one was an interesting one. So it was a project that came across my desk, and as I looked into it, it really reminded me of early metaverse back in 2018 when I was playing around with some of these projects going, wow, this looks cool. I think it's going to be big, but it looks like and feels like a piece of crap right now, right? but it had all the ingredients to potentially play out the way it did, and it did. Right, so there's a project here that we've been looking at that we invested in and shared with our members on March the 7th called DMT. And it's not the drug DMT, it stands for Dream Machine Token. Basically, the DMT token is a token that is a utility token based on the project Sanko. And Sanko is a layer 3 on the Arbitrum ecosystem. Basically, it's a multimedia protocol, on-chain game arcade. Think of it like a video streaming platform, but like Twitch, but a Web3 version. And this has all been built in-house. They are fully bootstrapped. And the native token DMT basically is something that runs behind the game. And you can be rewarded for consuming content with the token. You can be rewarded for creating content for the token. You can do advertising on the platform with the token. You buy NFTs. And all of it runs through the DMT token. And they're also looking at releasing a decentralized exchange, an NFT exchange, another game that they're going to be building on the Sanko chain. They're going to be looking at doing a data terminal. And ultimately, the tokenomics of it is really good, where they're doing deflationary token burns. And the timing of this is interesting, with the layer 3 narrative starting to build up. And Bergs, we looked at CoinGecko recently on some categories of other Web3 layer 3 projects, and DMT is one of 5 current layer 3s, and it got a really good push over the weekend when Degen came out on the Base network, and that really brought things into light, where the Dream Machine token's currently at 712 on the market cap. And the other projects are up in the 400s, 300s, and 200s. So I think layer 3s is a narrative that will get a bit more attention, especially now the Degen project is out. And ultimately, if Sanko can build a game that people actually like and use, and it gets attention, this is hopefully going to do pretty well. It's very high risk. Please don't put in more than you're willing to lose. It's very high risk. Definitely not financial advice, but one that we are holding, and hopefully does all right, Bergs.
Absolutely, mate. And we just saw that happen where we released it to members, and then 3 weeks later, people were like, what, we're doing layer 3 now? What's layer 3? Tell me about layer 3. And you can see it kind of spread over Twitter. And these are the early rumblings of crypto Twitter. I really like the project. I like what they're trying to do. I like the whole L3 narrative. I like it a lot better than AI or DeepIn narratives. Let me just slag these off for a second. So I did this live when we had our our meetup in Melbourne. Okay. So other narratives, AI and DeepIn. Oh God. All right, let's start with AI. So in a past life, I've done a lot of AI projects, a lot of research, a lot of statistics, a lot of data wrangling. Look, AI is really fucking hard. It sucks. Don't do it. Don't ever do it. It really sucks. And then you want to have some kind of like blockchain crypto thing. Okay, cryptos are really, really hard to make, to do, to release, to market. And you want to combine those together as well as run a company. Like AI and blockchain do not need to go together. It is going to be, it's crazy to do. You would not do it unless you're absolutely unhinged. And I think for those that know how difficult AI is, we know that it's bullshit. We know that you're not going to be able to make a decent product that people are going to use. But what you're competing with is, what does the average person know about AI? They know about ChatGPT. They see AI in something, they'll buy the coin. So that is the kind of narrative you're playing with the average retail, unsophisticated person that doesn't know about how difficult AI is and how blockchains work and how there's no real crossover between the two. Maybe in 10, 20 years, yeah, cool. But nowadays it's hard enough just to pull off an average project. So just be very aware of that. And then DeepIn, which is like, was it decentralized physical infrastructure? So this is decentralized compute. Again, fuck off. Like, I know so many guys that have done their PhDs in decentralized computing, and their answer to anything with decentralized computing is don't do it, because it's hard, it's unreliable, it relies on so many different incentives. And just look at Bitcoin. All the incentives have to line up for miners to come in, for it to be decentralized, for people to contribute to it. And just don't do it. Back in the day, 2000, I was doing SETI at home and protein folding, where it was decentralized computing. Your spare CPU power you could then use, and you could donate it to whichever institution to help them crunch their numbers. But actually thinking that your little GPS in your car is going to be used for DeepIn and you're going to earn tokens, and no, it's just not going to work. No one's going to get into it. They have a huge cold start problem. Different manufacturers aren't going to want them to do that. It's just not going to work.
This is interesting, right? Because so much of crypto just doesn't work. All right. At the end of the day, a lot of what these projects are doing have massive roadmaps, huge visions, and that's what people buy into. So what Bergs is saying is ultimately true, that this is very hard to do, very hard to pull off. But on the other side, this is where also you can still, these projects will still evidently probably go up because of narrative, right? Because people, retail investors aren't doing their research, right? So, for me, I've invested in Hive Mapper, which is a DeepIn project. Do I think this could actually pull off what it's trying to do? Maybe. But for me, ultimately, it's one of those things that's a throw at the stumps that, if retail investors believe that this is a sector that will get a lot of attention and Solana keeps promoting it and they start to do more work with the Solana blockchain, and Solana want to be seen as the blockchain that can do it, right? This is the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
Let's create this impossible task that no one can do, but let's say we can do it and let's try and pump money into it. That's like the idea of raising capital, right?
It is. And this is the really important thing that Ben has said. Even though you may, everyone believes something, and you may be close to the truth or have more experience, in a market, you want to make money. So you need to think, where is all the money coming from? And what do they actually know? And what do they believe? And even if it doesn't match up with reality, there is still an opportunity for you there. But just know that these two things aren't going to make anything in reality. But a lot of people may believe, if I said to you, Ben, I've got this AI coin, and it's mixed in with a meme, and it does all this trading algorithms, and I've got all these bots and they pay each other, and I make this beautiful narrative. People are like, holy shit, I want to invest in that.
Yeah.
I know I'll never be able to make that.
Yeah, you and I.
But I was like, hey, I'm going to try it. If you give me enough money, I'll try it. Why not? Let's give it a go. And money will flow into it. So there's opportunity there.
You make a great point. I was speaking to someone recently about, he's an artist creating an NFT project, and he was disappointed that he launched it and it got basically no attention and no one cared. And he's frustrated because he's been in the space for a long time. It's quality artwork. It's doing all these things. And we've got to remember, this is what we had a discussion about. The market doesn't give a flying fuck about you. Doesn't care what you know. Doesn't care about what you understand. Doesn't care about the ins, outs, left or maybes. The market is the market, and it will do whatever the market does. And what that basically means is that sometimes fundamentals go out the window, and it's based on some sort of narrative or some sort of sentiment-driven approach that really may make zero sense. Why did Dog with Hat Memecoin go up a gazillion %? Who knows, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, does that have more fundamental value than an NFT project with art? No, but that doesn't matter.
At some point, price becomes the narrative. Yeah. Price takes over.
Yeah.
And you'll believe anything when the price is going up day after day after day. You start to form, and especially if you've got money on the table, you start to form this view of this is going to be true. This is how it's going to happen. Look, it's already happening. I spoke to a guy recently, and he's been in startups for quite a while. And this team offered him a day rate of $3,000 for 10 days to help them raise capital. And it was a blockchain provenance project where they're basically, I can't even remember what the use case was, but it was blockchain, and you could prove it on the blockchain. He's like, and they put in 1.3 million of their own money, looking to raise another 4 million. And he's like, but this is a solution without a problem. It doesn't need to be on a blockchain. It doesn't need to be decentralized. And you still have those points of failure where people are scanning things in and they can easily fake it. Why do you need a blockchain? Just have a SQL database and then just have different points of authority. And he didn't end up taking it, even though he would have made 30 grand. He's like, I can't tell these guys something that doesn't exist. There's a lot of these things and narratives that come up. That was blockchain provenance was quite big during the ICO boom as well. Everyone thought that, their little bag of peas they get are going to be on the blockchain. Like you're going to be able to trace the provenance back to wherever.
Let's bring dog food on the blockchain.
Yeah, or like even coffee. Oh, it's single origin from this place because it says so on a blockchain. No one gives a shit. People don't care about that. They don't even care about Bitcoin, for God's sake.
So that's a great segue into the other investment that I'll share that, you've probably all heard me before. Maple. Maple's a favorite of mine. DeFi project, building real-world lending, real-world asset-backed loans, growing TVL. I was doing some digging into their financials, Bergs, and we're having a discussion with this, again, with our Platinum members this morning. So Maple released their financials and, they're burning a fair bit of cash, right? Like last quarter, they burnt $1.3 million. So they brought in $170,000 and expensed $1.5 million. And I basically put in the group and said, look, this is actually a positive thing. Revenue's tripled in the last quarter. Yes, burn is high, but I'm going to say this is probably the top percentile of crypto projects that are even, bringing in revenue. And one of the Platinum members was like, well, how can we even evaluate these projects? That seems like a lot of burn. But we've got to remember that these are not revenue. We don't base crypto companies off revenue multiples and EBITDA multiples. We base crypto projects off future potential, ability to grow and do something that no one's ever done before, previous market cap, sentiment, community, TVL, so many different things. It's not as easy as just looking at a revenue multiple. And that, again, comes back down to fundamental investing in crypto, trying to find projects that are doing stuff that others are not, that gets attraction, that gets attention, but may also be doing something fundamentally valuable. And that's what we like to invest in. And if you can find those ahead of narrative driving events like price going up, well, then you're in a good spot. And that's the way I look at it as well.
That's exactly right. It's more akin to VC investing where the price is based on what you can raise next round, those kind of metrics that you hit. And the metrics are never revenue. It'll be how many customers do you have? How much of the market segment do you have? Do you have the best talent? Whatever it is for that specific industry. And for Maple, it'll be things like usage or TVL or price action is one as well. There's a lot of different metrics to value these projects.
Now, the last one we wanted to mention was Maker or MakerDAO. MakerDAO's been around forever. Going through a big rebrand in 2024. It's going to do a token split of a ratio of 1 to 24,000 because they've got a very high token price. And again, we all know retail investors believe that high price equals expensive, which, again, doesn't make any difference.
That's unit cost bias. Don't buy into it.
Unit cost bias, exactly. Thank you, Bergs. So basically, MakerDAO is it's like a central bank of crypto. It issues stable coins. You can earn yield on your investments. I think the token upgrade, the rebrand is going to do very well. This has done very well since we invested in this in about a month ago or 2 months ago. Again, guys, if you're not members, we're delivering this to you a month or two after we shared it. So for those members that that have been in the group, you're getting this as soon as we buy it. So they've already made the gains. That's a benefit of being a member. But we wanted to share this with you because we're still bullish on these projects. Ultimately, I think Maker's going to do pretty well as well.
I've been away for the last week and a bit, so I'm going to read that that Maker article. It looks really interesting. I like the split as well. I might get into that. Yeah,
it's a good one. Yeah, Maker's done. Yeah, that's up 400% this year.
Nice.
So there you have it, folks. Those four that I just mentioned: Maple, DMT, Maker, and ETH. Narrative drives prices. Market cap is the one to look at. Fully diluted, not token price. Look at staking, but be aware of the pros and cons, and get prepared for altcoin season, folks, because we're not even at the Bitcoin halving yet, Bergs, and things I think are going to get pretty exciting this year.
Mate, I'm already excited. I can't wait. We haven't even begun.
Yeah, super excited. So, guys, if you're not a member and you'd like to jump on, please head over to our website. You can become a pro member today. That gives you everything that you need to really navigate, get your strategy together, have a look at those altcoins, have a look at our ratings, join our community, and just ultimately don't fuck this cycle up. If you're on the fence, we offer 30-minute strategy calls, so you can book in a free call with one of us, get some insights, get a bit more of a plan together to see what's going to be best for you. We can help answer your questions. We've got a couple of openings, in the next few weeks. So you can come in and book a time. We get filled up pretty fast, so make sure to jump over and check that out. You can go to our website and click in the strategy call button in the top right-hand corner. And ultimately, let's all make some money together. Thank you, Bergs.
Thanks, mate. And thanks, JBs, for listening.
See you, folks.